Thank you, Gertrude, for organising this amazing platform. So today I'm going to tell you a story about my life growing up with disabilities. Picture this: you're at work, you stand up for morning tea, and you collapse and can't get up. That was me 25 years ago. In 1995, when my world changed forever. That was the beginning of life in a wheelchair. Little did I know what an impact that was going to have. At the time, one of my colleagues took me to visit a friend of his who was also in a wheelchair. And she said to me, "As long as you can stand up, you'll be fine." I've called on the power of those words many times over the last 25 years when things have got tough. Imagine my shock when I was told by my specialist, quite casually, "Oh, people with cerebral palsy often end up in wheelchairs," as if he was surprised it hadn't happened earlier. My mother and I looked at him with shock, and I said, "Why wasn't I told?" And rightly, although I couldn't see it at the time, he said to me, "Would you have wanted to live your life knowing that one day you were going to end up in a wheelchair?" I thought about that for a couple of minutes and I thought, well, actually, no, because that would have changed how I'd lived my life up to that point. It took about 2 years to really get used to this was how life was going to be. And I lost some friends along the way because people couldn't cope with the fact that I was suddenly in a wheelchair. But the friends I've made since, and those that have stuck around, accept me for who I am, and I'm grateful for that. I was born with both my disabilities, cerebral palsy and low vision. I wasn't treated any differently growing up, so it wasn't until I started school in 1973 that I really figured out that I was different. I couldn't keep up with the other kids at school. I couldn't run around and play with them, so I spent a lot of time on my own. Although I was mainstreamed in a time when mainstreaming kids with disabilities wasn't that common, I did spend about 3 years at the cerebral palsy unit in Rotorua. And since talking to my mum about that, it was a very tough time for her because initially she wasn't allowed to come and visit me. And that was hard, particularly as I was going through some fairly major surgeries at the time. School was a struggle in the 70s and 80s because there wasn't the support for kids with disabilities that there is now. Most of them were still institutionalised. But although I didn't achieve very highly at school, academically, by the time I left home at 18, I had all the social skills that I needed. Although I'm the only one in my family who was born with disabilities, like lots of families, others have their own challenges. Think about your own family, either your siblings or your children or your parents or whoever it might be, and think about what challenges they or even you have, because everyone has challenges, but some of them are evident to see, like my cerebral palsy, but my low vision isn't that obvious. If I didn't have a guide dog, people wouldn't know that I had low vision. In fact, they mostly think I'm blind. But I actually can see, but I can't tell how far away things or people are. I have no distance or depth perception, and being in a wheelchair with no distance or depth perception is quite strange because I can't see curbs. I know they're there, But to give you an example of what that means, during lockdown, or not so much during lockdown, but when we were in level 2 and had to social distance and be 2 metres apart, I don't know what 2 metres apart is, and my guide dog certainly doesn't. In fact, the guide dogs are trained to take us to the door of the shop, wherever it is, and then to the counter. For me, that was a real struggle. So today I'm going to share with you 3 things I've learned about as the result of being different. What people don't understand is that everyone's different. Don't be defined by your difference, and certainly please don't be confined by your differences. It never occurred to me that I wouldn't work, but it wasn't easy. And certainly running my own business as I do now was never on my radar. Imagine if I had let my differences define who I am. I wouldn't be running adaptive technology solutions. I wouldn't be making technology accessible for everyone. I wouldn't be working with the amazing social change agency B Lab, and I certainly wouldn't have been awarded a Queen's Birthday Order of Merit, which I'll tell you a little bit about shortly. Did you know that 1 in 4, or 24%, so that's almost a quarter, of us live with some form of disability or impairment? That makes it difficult to use things like technology. What I do, if I'm doing this live, I would get every 4th person in the audience to stand up. That's obviously not going to work now. So just imagine you're in an audience of 2,000 people and every 4th person stands up. So running my own business, excuse me, isn't easy. It certainly has its challenges, but it's very rewarding. I've won numerous business awards over that time, but in 2016, I was awarded the Queen's Birthday Honours New Zealand Order of Merit for services to people with disabilities. That for me was a huge achievement. Maintaining mobility is also very important to me, and I attend fitness training using a vibration machine, which is 15 minutes on that is equivalent to an hour in the gym. When I started that, I couldn't even stand up for the 15 minutes, but now I can, and I'm doing the same exercises as everybody else. That's not a luxury anymore. It's a necessity to maintain my mobility. What's something you do with purpose and intention that isn't a luxury? Staying healthy is also really important to me. And to do this, I use essential oils to help manage my health. As a result of that, the success I've had, I now teach other people to use them and how to order them. Since lockdown, I'm wanting to take that to the next level, and I'm building more of a business out of that essential oils as well. So I've got adaptive technology solutions and Jen's oils. And that business helps people adapt to change and supports their physical and emotional health. Right now, as our previous speaker alluded, we're all adjusting to change. We need to adapt. So whether it's using technology or essential oils to help manage our emotions, that's what I do. Because I don't, and I do it because I don't want anyone to be defined by their differences. When life throws you a challenge, remember, move. Mindset, oils, vision, and exercise. My life's full and happy right now. I'm not saying I don't have challenges, but I don't feel like I've missed out because of my disabilities. In fact, they've made me the the person I am. I don't let my disabilities define me. Don't let your differences define you. Thank you.